Good evening and welcome to January 1st, 1938. I'm Henry Chop, your host. I will tell you about our 7-year journey in a little bit. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. This video marks the first in a series going through what were the most turbulent years in world history. This channel plans to follow World War II from more than a year before the shooting war broke out until 4 months after the war ended. You will hear and see the world change before your eyes and ears. We will spotlight what is now called old-time radio. But what is going to make this channel unique from any other is that we will also spotlight film and music as well. Why did we choose 1938 as a starting point when the war started on September 1st, 1939? Well, there are a couple reasons for that. First off, there were two big events that pushed the world closer to war that year. They were the Austrian Anschluss and the Munich Agreement, which gave Adolf Hitler and Germany, in exchange for peace in our time, Czechoslovakia. It was the planting of the seeds that bloomed into a world war the following year. You will hear speeches from all the principal players as those play out. The second reason is simply that a ton more radio programs begin turning up this year than other previous years. This video will be typical of what you can expect in the next 7 years. Tonight we are going to listen to the crews of the Poll Parrot, Jungle Jim, Speed Gibson of the International Secret Police, the Jack Haley Log Cabin program, and a CBS News program forecasting 1938, which I know you will enjoy. It's a program that predicts what is going to happen in the upcoming year and also looks back at 1937, kind of fitting for a January 1st. We recreate radio schedules. The first 3 programs I named the children's programs were syndicated, and they were not listed in the radio listings that I use. I use the Chicago Tribune because I am based in the Chicago area. But the Jack Haley Log Cabin program aired at 7:30 in the evening over NBC Red, and the CBS Forecasting program aired at 9:45 in the evening. And we are also going to listen to something called the Your Hit Parade Jukebox. What that is a countdown of the top 10 records of the week with yours truly as the disc jockey. We will do that every Saturday that is represented. Another thing we plan to share on Saturdays will be movies. I will browse through the newspaper and see if we could pick out a double feature to share with you. Also, when possible, we do try to recreate the music experience with shorts, newsreels, and such to go along with the double feature. We like to call this the Late Late Show after the old movies they used to show on TV back in the day. The 2 films we will feature tonight are Dead End with Humphrey Bogart and the Dead End Kids, and You're a Sweetheart with Alice Faye. Now, of course, this is subject to change because I haven't uploaded them yet. I'm going to be doing that while this show is going on. And it is possible that YouTube might want me to make some changes. They're kind of funny with copyrights for movies. But as of right now, that's what we have planned, and there are a ton of selected shorts to go with those, so you're going to get a few surprises in there. I think you'll enjoy that classic movie double feature, so definitely stay tuned after that. Well, I see the tubes are warming up on this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Let's give this stuff a listen.
All aboard for the transcribed premiere production, The Cruise of the Poll Parrot. And what a cruise it is. So much has happened of late, it's difficult to enumerate all the exciting adventures which have befallen Captain Dalton, our young friends Sue Grange and Johnny Robbins, and all the rest of the crew of the Poll Parrot. We do know that just recently, good old Dickon, the one-legged sailor, evened the score with the giant blue whale, which many years ago was responsible for Dickon's losing his leg. The crew had no sooner made the dead whale fast alongside ship and off to further adventures when Captain Dalton ordered full sail to the volcanic island of Galto. Anchoring just off the island, a party including Captain Dalton, Ezra Grange, Johnny, and Sue is nearing land in one of the whaleboats. Dickon, the one-legged sailor, and most of the crew are already ashore. First Mate Wainwright and one of the crew have remained on board the Poll Parrot. Somewhere on this island of Galto, Ezra Grange hopes to find the vast treasure which rightfully belongs to him and Johnny Robbins. Oh, yes, Poll Parrot himself, the ship's mascot, seems to be the most excited of all as the boat nears land.
Land it is, Polly. Galto Island and perhaps the lost treasure.
Make her fast, Marty.
Right you are, Polly. Make her fast, men. Ready for a landing.
And who knows if this map we have is correct, the riches there may be in store for us.
Oh, Mr. Grange, I hope the map is correct and we find what we came for.
I'm sure we'll find it, Johnny.
All right, all of you, jump out. The boat's beached safely. You first, Sue.
Here I come. Oh, there.
Now, Mr. Grange.
All right, then.
Now, Johnny, come along, lad. Men, you'd better haul the boat farther up the beach. No use taking any chance of the tide coming in.
Aye, aye, sir. Ahoy, Captain Dalton.
Ahoy. Shiver me rigging. There's skullduggery afoot, Captain.
Up on it, mateys.
Now, what's wrong, Dickon? Who's causing trouble now?
It's no who, Captain. It's a nit.
What are you talking about, man? Calm yourself.
It's old Smoky Mouth, Mr. Grange. The worst volcano in these here parts. And I've seen her on many a cruise.
Do you think it's dangerous on this island, Dickon?
Strike me pink, I do, miss.
Don't get excited, Dickon. Old Smoky Mouth's much the same as other volcanoes in these islands. That smoke you see coming out of its mouth is almost constant. Been simmering like that for years, I suppose.
But aren't volcanoes dangerous when they smoke?
Not always. The ones that smoke all the time are not necessarily the most active or dangerous.
But Smoky Mouth is such a large volcano. I'll bet it's the largest in the world.
Oh, no, far from it. This one isn't half the size of the volcano of Fujiyama. Over 12,000 feet high she is, with a crater 500 feet deep. And if you walked around her mouth, you'd be walking 2.5 miles.
Aye, you're right there, Captain Dalton. I saw her with my own eyes, I did. When I was a lad, I shipped around the Horn, bound for the Orient. And when you get there, you can see old Fujiyama for miles, you can, sir.
Oh, I like this. It's the first time I've ever seen a real volcano.
Well, they're nice to look at from a distance, but I only hope we won't have to get too close to it, searching for the minerals.
Aye, sir. But it ain't the smoke that I'm worried about.
What then, Dickon?
A short while ago, before you landed, some of the men and myself went closer to old Smoky Mouth to see what we could see.
Did you see anything, Dickon?
It worried what we saw that struck us queer, lad. Blow me down, Captain. It's what we heard.
Well, out with it, man. What did you hear?
As I was saying, sir, we got close to old Smoky Mouth. It looked peaceful enough, all right. But as we neared it, blow me down, as if it were a warning to us we wasn't wanted on the island, she started a rumbling that would have capsized a hulk twice the size of the Poll Parrot.
That must have been the funny sound we heard when we were leaving the ship.
Yes, Sue. I heard it, too.
We were so busy making ready to heave to, I suppose I heard it but paid no attention.
Captain, there it goes again, sir. I don't like the looks of it.
Nor do I, Dickon.
But you can't turn back now, Mr. Grange. That old Smoky Mouth doesn't frighten me.
Nor me, Ezra. I feel a lot safer with that volcano there than I did when that mean old Testy was running loose.
Aye, but he was a man, lass, and against any man there's chance for protection. Not so against an angry volcano once it starts on a rampage.
Right you are there, Captain Dalton. Well, I'll go again, any man before the mast. For Smoky Mouth here, once she went on a spree, it'd be too much for even old Dickon to manage.
What do you think, Captain Dalton?
Well, so there's no telling. We may be lucky and find out what we're after, and all of us back on shipboard with the bow pointed for home, long before Smoky Mouth starts any trouble. If we're careful, it's worth a chance. It'll be a shame to come all this way only to turn back. But the treasure's yours and Johnny's here, and it's up to you. Say the word and we turn back. Say ahead, and ahead it'll be.
I'd say ahead, Ezra.
And you, Johnny, what do you say?
Ahead it is, sir.
You're a brave pair, Sue and Johnny. Mr. Grange?
Ahead it'll be then, Captain Dalton.
Shiver me timbers, ahead it is.
Well, Mr. Grange and the men here will come with me. We'll join the other men up ahead. You, Dickon, stay behind with Sue and Johnny.
But, sir, I'd like to come along if I may.
And so would I. We're not going to stay behind.
Now, listen, you two hearties. It's better this way. We may want to signal to you. You can make the second trip with us.
Yes, now do as Captain Dalton says. He's in complete charge from now on, as I told him on the boat.
Thank you, Mr. Grange. We won't be long.
Blast me topsails. In all the excitement, I almost forgot about those two lubbers, Old Testy and Red Mulhooly.
Now, they're still chained up in the hold. I don't think they'll be able to get away real soon.
Mr. Wainwright and one of the men stayed on board to make sure of that.
Aye, but just the same, I'd feel a lot better when we drop 'em off at port where they get their just dues. If it was left to me, I'd like to do like the pirates do. I'd make the lubbers walk the plank.
Yo, ho, ho, and a bottle of rum. Walk the plank, you lovers.
You see me, Oddies? Old Polly knows what to do with them.
I'll bet Altesti and Red Mulhooley are sorry they ever tried to steal Mr. Grange's map of the treasure.
Yes. I wonder what they're thinking about now that they know they can't get away.
Yeah, and I can thank you, Altesti, for the fix we're in.
All your talk, Senor Mulhooley. For someday we may not be in chains such as these, and I do not soon forget such insults.
Ah, you can't scare me, Altesti. I wish I'd never seen your dirty face.
Eh?
I was locked up in a land brig. I'd know how to get out. But here, halfway in the middle of the ocean, well, it's the first time I ever been in a seagoing jail. I ain't just figured out how to break 'em.
All of which reminds me, amigo mío, we should forget our quarrel. Perhaps we could devise some plan to make our escape.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Altesti.
Then, senor, we are friends once more.
I guess so, only...
Only that there is still one chance that we may gain what we are after.
What do you mean, Altesti?
Justice, amigo. This morning, when the stupid sailor they call Dickon brought us our food, he began his boasting again.
Yeah, blast his ornery hide. If I could get my hands on that salt...
One moment, my friend. You may yet have the opportunity.
What do you mean?
Justice. From what he said this morning, I would say that we are anchored just off the island which holds the treasure according to the map I tried to get from Senor Grange. So that means that the ship will be here for some time. Dickon made the mistake of telling me that it would be useless to try to escape, for they have left First Mate Wainwright and one man to guard us, while the others went ashore.
And that means if we can get away from these chains we're in, we'd have a good chance to overpower Wainwright and the other sailor on deck and make our getaway.
But what, senor?
Where'd we go if we did get away?
To the island, of course, stupid one. Where, after all, we may be able to get hold of the treasure that Grange and the rest of them are after.
Say, that's right. Maybe we could. But what then? We can't get back to the mainland in a whaleboat.
My friend, once we are in control of the treasure, it will be an easy matter to bring the crew to our side. We could leave Grange and his friends to rot on the island.
Say, maybe we could do that, Altesti. Maybe we could do that.
Now, here is what we do. These chains that hold us are old and rusty. A few blows with something heavy would break them loose.
Yeah, if I could only find... Wait a minute, Altesti. Look over there with that whale log cask. A loose iron brace.
Ah, I see it, my friend. If you can only reach it.
I'll see. Maybe I can stretch out with my feet and move it over this way.
That is it, senor. One more inch, and you have it.
There, got it. Now I can move it over near us.
Nice work, amigo mío. Now, first, before we try to free ourselves, we must plan our attack upon the two sailors so that we will not fail.
Yeah, that's right. We can't fail, Altesti.
Now, here is what we do, Senor Red. The two men who are above, watching that we do not escape.
Jameson! Jameson!
Aye, Mr. Wainwright. Be right there.
Jameson, you think it about time to take a look at the two rats we have in chains below?
Rats they are, sir. I'll go and have a look, but I don't think they'll be able to cause any more trouble. That last run-in they had with the captain took all the fight out of them.
So we are rats, Perhaps we are, but smart ones,
Trusty, how did you two lovers get loose?
Perhaps in due time we will find out. In the meantime, Senor Wainwright and you too, sailor, I would advise you not to try anything you'd be sorry for. You see, I have this gun, which Senor Grange was good enough to leave in his cabin, pointed straight at your arm.
Finish the buzzards off now, Trusty. That'll be two less we have to worry about.
In due time, friend Red, all in due time. You must control your bloodthirsty impulses.
I must do what?
Oh, never mind, senor. Those ropes lying on the deck, you see them?
Yeah, I see them.
Get them, then tie these two gentlemen very securely.
You'll never get away with this, you scum. Captain Dalton will swing you both from the yardarm of the Poll Parrot and let the sharks nibble your black hearts out.
I think not, my friend. Red, tie them tightly.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. The sailor's tied up, so he'll not get away. Now I'll take care of Wainwright here. But I'd much rather cut his heart out.
Senor Red, remember what I said. Hurry, we have much to do before we finish.
They're both tied up. Take that, you swab, Wainwright.
My holy, what did I tell you?
No, I couldn't resist laying the swab low. He made a bad mistake when he called us rats.
It seems he made a mistake when he called me rats, Senor Red. But I believe he was correct about you.
What do you mean by that, Altesti?
I mean this, my friend Red. Remember when we were below in chains, you referred to me as Dirty Face. And if you remember further, my friend, I said I would not soon forget your insult.
But, Altesti, we said we'd forget our quarrel.
I said we would forget our quarrel. But I did not say I would forget your insult.
What you gonna do?
A few moments ago, you mentioned cutting someone's heart out. That gives Altesti a fine idea. But it will be your heart that is cut out, if any.
You can't do this, Altesti. You need me to help you get the treasure from Grange and Captain Dalton.
No, Senor Red, I think not. Your clumsiness would be put in the way. You have blundered enough already. I do not intend taking any more chances with your arm.
Keep away from me, Altesti. With that gun, keep away, I say.
The gun I do not intend to use on you, Senor, but this knife. That is different. So, Dirty Face,
Just keep your distance, you swab. I should have known you'd try something like this. Get back now or I'll throw this belaying pin. Will you ask for it?
You missed me, senor. Now it is my turn to throw, and I will not miss. In one moment, dog, this knife will pierce your arm.
I thought you had me that time, but seeing your dirty face, you missed too. Now I'm going to break you with my bare hands.
Let go of me,
Yeah, I'll let go of you. Over the rail of this boat, Mr. Dirty Face. I got you now. But look first. Look over the side of the boat. Do you see those fins upon the surface of the water?
Fins?
Sharks. Yeah, sharks. And here goes some food for them. They look kind of hungry to me.
Senor, my friend, you can't do that to me.
I can't, eh? Watch me.
So, that's the end of the troublemaker Altesti. But what about Red Mahuli? What will his next step be? And that volcano, Smoky Mouth. Will Ezra Grange, Captain Dalton, Sue, and Johnny find the mineral treasure before Smoky Mouth erupts? Or before they have more trouble with Red Mahuli? We hope so. But we'll have to follow the transcribed adventures of the crews of the Poll Parrot very closely to find out all these things. Be sure to listen to the further adventures in the search for the vast mineral treasure on the island of Galto with Captain Dalton, Ezra Grange, Sue, Johnny, Dickon, and all the rest as we unfold the tale of the crews of the Poll Parrot. Your Poll Parrot announcer is Dave Ward.
Stay tuned next for Jungle Jim.
Presenting the adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week, the Maharaja's messenger returned to the Lamasery with the news that the Silent One had the map and that he had gone north into the Afghan hills. The Maharaja immediately made preparations to start after him. But before leaving, he attempted to question Bob McGuire. However, Bob acted as if he were still unconscious, and the Maharaja had to leave without getting the information he was after. Meanwhile, on the high bluff where Jungle Jim, Shanghai Lil, O.P. Watts, and Kolo have made camp, Jim and Lil examined the treasure map which they had taken from the Silent One. They discovered that the map had been drawn upside down, and that which seemed to be north at the top was really south. Just as they made this discovery, Kolo came with the news that the Maharaja was approaching at the head of a column of men. The thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, each page printed in full color, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And now we continue our story. Jungle Jim, Shanghai Lil, and Kolo are on the high bluff north of the Lamasery. They have captured the Silent One, and now all three are watching the approach of the Maharaja and his men. Jim has a plan.
Jim, you can't go down under the trail and meet the Maharaja. He'd kill you on sight if he recognized you.
Oh, maybe, but he won't recognize me, Lil. It'll be dark soon, and I'm going disguised as the Silent One.
Oh, it's crazy, Jim.
No, it's not, Lil. You just wait and see. Kolo and I'll find a way. Why, I'll put on the Silent One's clothes and his mask and take his horse.
But, Jim, you'll have to talk.
Yes, some, but I'm going to fake injuries to my face. I'll tell the Maharaja I was held up. Say that I met Jungle Jim.
And just about then he'll put a bullet through that stubborn head of yours.
No, I don't think so, Lil. Why, look, it's nearly night. I'll get away with it all right. The Maharaja will probably send me back to the Lamasery with 1 or 2 guards.
But I don't see how you can...
Oh, as soon as he gets out of sight, I'll give Kolo the signal we always use. He'll distract the guards' attention, and then we'll jump them.
Oh, it's too dangerous.
It's our only chance, Lil. If I can get back to the Lamasery and free Bob and Connie, we can get the treasure and be back to Fort Jamrud before the Maharaja realizes what's happened.
Well, where do I come in on this plan?
Well, I want you to stay here, Lil.
And what about O.P.?
Well, keep him here with you. He's up on the other end of the bluff, watching the road from the north. Let him stay there. He's happy as long as he thinks he's doing something. Now, come on, Kolo. It's time we were getting started.
Yes, it was.
I'll be over before you start, Jim.
Okay. Kolo, we've got our job cut out for us. As soon as I leave, I want you to get the horses into the cave, so there isn't a chance of their being spotted from the road.
Kolo know what to do, Tuan.
All right. I'll leave things up to you. However, follow me as soon as you can after I start. You can circle the Maharaja's party.
Kolo, be ready when you give signal, Tuan.
Now, good. Now, here's the cave.
Yes, Tuan.
Is that you, Bradley?
That's right, Silent One.
Good. I'm glad that you have come. I want to talk to you, Bradley.
I'm sorry, Silent One. I'll have to make it some other time. All right, Kolo. Strip our friend. I'll hold the gun on him until you finish.
What are you going to do?
Borrow your clothes for a little while. Come on, hurry, Colo.
Yes, it one.
You
Come on.
fool.
Hold still.
You'll never get away with this, brother. You think my men won't know you?
Yeah. Here is turban.
All right,
Here is
Colo.
shirt one.
Fine. Let's have it. Silent One, you might be interested in knowing that I'm going to meet your old friend, the Maharaja.
Fool. He'll kill you if you would listen to me.
Perhaps when I get back. Right now, I have a lot of work to do. Here. Let's have the rest of this thing, Colo.
Here's one.
Mm-hmm. Fine. Now, let's see. Oh, gosh, Colo. What'll I do about a mustache? I certainly haven't got time to grow one, that's sure.
Maybe Kolo draw one on with burnt stick one.
Say, not a bad idea, Colo. Get me some charcoal from that old fire over there.
Yes, it one. Here is burnt stick.
That's fine.
Now, hold still one. Kolo pick.
All right. There. Gosh. I don't know, Colo. I hope it works. It's a good thing it's getting dark.
Hold still.
Have you got it fixed yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it be good one.
Well, how's it look, Colo?
Good one.
All right. Now let me have the mask the silent one wears. Then we'll see what Lil thinks about it.
Yes, it one.
That's it. Okay. Now tie him up again, Colo.
All right.
Here, silent one.
Yeah.
You can wear this blanket until I get back. I hope you weren't planning on going anywhere tonight.
If I ever get free, you'll pay for this with your life, Bradley.
It'll be a long time before you get free again, silent one. You're going to prison. Tie him up good and tight, Colo.
Yes, it one.
I'll be outside getting on his horse.
Kolo be out in minute one.
Hurry.
Yes, it one.
Well, Lil, what do you say?
Oh, Jim. Is that you?
Did I frighten you, Lil? Well, how do I look?
Why, it's perfect. You do resemble the silent one.
Why, Lil, you ain't seen nothing yet. Hand me some of those red berries on the bush over there.
Oh, do you mean these?
Uh-huh. That's right. Now watch. These berries are filled with a juice as dark as blood.
Well, what are you doing?
Staining the shirt to make it look as though I'd been shot through the shoulder. There. See? Now I'm going to rub some on my face.
Oh, you're going to pretend that you're injured.
That's it, Lil. Then I won't have to talk very loud or very clearly. There. Now listen, how's this?
I was ambushed, Highness. A man called Jungle Jim. He took the map and went north.
Oh, why, Jim, that's wonderful. The first thing you know, you'll be turning actor.
Well, if I can act good enough to fool the Maharaj, I'll be satisfied, Lil. Oh, here's the map. You take it and hide it somewhere. I don't want to have it on me.
All right.
Now, I've got to get started right away. I want to be down on the trail before the Maharaj sees me.
Jim, be careful.
Don't worry, Lil. I will. You can watch me and see what happens through the glasses. And send Kolo as soon as he's finished with the horses.
I will. How soon will you be back, Jim?
I'll be back just as soon as I've rescued Bob and Connie McGuire.
As Jim rides to meet the Maharaja Vibor, other events are taking place back in the now almost deserted lamasery. Bob and Connie McGuire are in their cell planning to escape.
Bob, did you hear that?
Yes. Wait, Connie. I think there's someone coming.
Oh.
If it's one man alone, we'll... Connie, it is.
Oh, Bob, do you think we ought to risk it?
Listen, it's our only chance, Connie. I'll lie here on the floor by the cell bars and pretend that I'm unconscious. You get the guard to come into the cell so that I can grab him.
Well, I'll try, Bob.
Get ready, darling. He's coming this way. You'd better call him.
All right, now. Lie down, Bob. God, come here, help me.
What do you want?
Oh, please, you've got to help me. My husband, he doesn't move. Come in and look at him. He's dying.
Maharaja, come back soon.
Oh, no, you've got to look at him now. Please say you will.
No, Maharaja say don't open door.
Here, God, I'll give you this ring if you'll only come in and help me. It's a real diamond. Just look at it.
Let's see.
Come in and get it. Oh, you've got to come in and look at my husband. He's dying. I'll give you this diamond ring just as soon as you help me.
Give me a ring first.
Here, I'll put it on the floor there. Then I'll come in and help me, and it's all yours.
Go back, corner of cell.
All right, I'll stand back here.
Stay where you are.
Hurry, please.
Stay back.
Wait, you can't can't have the ring yet. You've got to help my husband first.
Him die. Can't help
Oh,
him.
no. Just look at him.
There. He wanted to look at me for some time.
Oh, we ought to gag him, Bob.
Oh, never mind. He'll be out for at least an hour. Come, let's go.
Oh, my ring. I almost forgot it.
Oh, yes. Here it is, Connie.
Thanks.
Now, let's get out of here.
Oh, where are we going, Bob?
We're going to find Jungle Jim Bradley.
Meanwhile, as night falls, Jungle Jim rides out onto the plain to meet the Maharaja Vibor and his horsemen. He is disguised as the Silent One, and as he nears the Maharaja, he sways drunkenly in his saddle as if severely injured.
There they are, just ahead. They'll see me in a minute now. If my disguise doesn't work, they'll be all up with me.
Highness.
Who is there?
Do not shoot, Highness.
So, it is you, Silent One.
Mercy, Highness. I am injured.
Oh, dog. You thought you could double-cross the Maharaja Ravivor, did you?
It is not true, Highness. I found the map and went for the jewels to bring them to you.
You lie. Hand me that map or I'll shoot you now.
It is gone, Highness.
What?
I was ambushed.
What are you saying?
I was ambushed by the man called Jungle Jim. He took the map.
Where was this?
Beyond the great bluff, Highness. Quickly, go after him. He went north.
So Jungle Jim Bradley now has the map. Silent One, I'll take care of you later. Abu!
Yes, Highness.
Take another man and bring this traitor back to the Lamasare.
Yes, Highness.
The rest of you, follow me. After them.
You will ride between us, Silent One.
Wait. I must rest.
What was that?
There is someone watching us. See? Over there.
Stangy, see who is there.
All right, you. Throw up your hands.
You are not the Silent One.
No, you fools. I'm Jungle Jim Bradley. And keep quiet if you know what's good for you. Get the other one, Kolo. Keep your hands up, you. I'll take this gun of yours.
Don't shoot.
I won't if you do what I tell you to. Are you all right, Kolo?
One. Come, help.
Just a minute, Kolo. I've got to take care of this man first. All right, you. Get down off your horse.
Yes, master.
That's it. Now march in front of me. Where are you, Kolo?
This way, Kwan.
Are you hurt?
Here, Kwan.
What's the matter, Kolo?
Kolo, all right. Man kicked by horse, Kwan. Here is man.
What? Why, this man is knocked out, Kolo. What happened?
Him start to run, Kwan. Horse get frightened, kick him.
Are you okay?
Yes, it Kwan.
Well, take the man's gun. Yeah, that's it.
His horse get away.
Oh, never mind that, Kolo. Here, keep that one covered.
Yes, it Kwan.
I'll see if I can bring this one around. All right, you. Come on. Come on, get up.
Don't shoot.
Get up, you. Get up, get up. Now, that's it. Now, both of you, stand over there.
One, you will take prisoners?
That's right, Kolo. We'll put them both on one horse. All right, you two. Mount. Keep them covered, Kolo.
Yes, it Kwan.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go to Lamasari?
That's right, Kolo. You go back and tell Lil and O.P. Watts that my plan worked. And I'll be back sometime tomorrow morning with Bob and Connie McGuire.
Well, it looks as if the tide has turned. Will Jungle Jim find Bob and Connie McGuire? And if he does, will our friends be able to locate the treasure before the Maharaja finds that he has been tricked? The adventures you have just heard dramatized will appear in full-color action pictures in the Comic Weekly, the big Comic Weekly distributed with your Hearst Sunday newspaper everywhere. In the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure, you will find all the famous characters who live in the world of color pictures. There's the Katzenjammer Kids, Jiggs and Maggie, Barney Google, Toots and Casper, the Little King, Flash Gordon. See all these famous characters in your copy of next Sunday's Comic Weekly. And don't forget our date next week, same time, same station, for a continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
Stay tuned next for Speed Gibson of the International Secret Police.
Speed Gibson of the International Secret Police. Aided by the map that Quan Wu dropped, Speed, Clint, Barney, Bob, and some of the Hong Kong police locate the underground hangar of the Octopus. They arrive just before the planes take off, and the criminal orders his gunners to fire on the police from the planes. Fortunately, in the haste of the takeoff, only a few are wounded, and after the planes are out of sight, Clint and the others capture the small band of Octopus gangsters left in the hangar, leaving Speed with the wounded. Just as they are about to inspect the hangar within the hill, however, Clint and Barney see an Octopus sentry, who evidently escaped their notice, sneaking up behind Speed with a drawn gun.
We haven't a chance of reaching the kid, Clint.
Out of the way, Barney.
You got him!
In the arm. Just where I wanted to get him. Now I won't be able to use that gun, and he'll still be able to answer some questions.
What's up, Barlow?
I just winged an Octopus sentry, Captain Dawes. He was sneaking up on Speed.
Look, the kid's bringing him in at the point of a gun.
How on earth did we ever miss him? Probably was posted on the outskirts of the landing field. But why the attempted attack on Speed? He might have known he couldn't escape.
Oh, the guy's dumb, that's all, Clint. Anybody who works for the Octopus is dumb, or he wouldn't be working for him.
Yeah, you're right there, Barney. Captain Dawes, if you've made certain of your prisoners, you'd better bring the wounded into the hangar.
I'm going to. We found a telephone, and an ambulance is already on the way here.
Now, good. Meanwhile, I want to question this man that Speed is bringing in. He may be able to throw some light on the destination of the Octopus flight.
Look, here comes Bob, tearing along, too.
I'll look after the wounded now, Barlow. Call on me if you need any help.
Oh, thank you, Captain Dawes. Hi, Speed. Are you all right?
Yeah, Clint. I was sure surprised when I heard your gun and looked up to see it pointing in my direction.
That was the sweetest shooting I've seen in a long time, kid. Quick and to the point. Another minute and that guy would have had you sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Clint.
Don't thank me, Speed. I should have known better than to leave you alone out there with the wounded. Now then, let's see what this man has to say for himself.
Oh, Chang not going to hurt boy. Chang thought he was Octopus follower. Chang flamed out police.
Don't give us that stuff or I'll knock your teeth down your throat. We saw you sneaking up behind the kid with your gun.
Oh, no. Chang, good boy. Chang hurt that.
I saw the whole thing, Clint, but I was too far away to help.
That's all right, Bob. Main thing now is to see if this man is willing to talk.
Say, I've located a small room right near here, Clint. Must have served as an office. Let's take him in there.
All right, good. Lead on then, Bob.
All right, right this way.
Yeah, and while we're going there, Chang, or whatever your name is, you might as well think up a whole list of correct answers, because we're sure going to ask you a lot of questions.
Will those wounded police be all right, Clint?
Yes, Speed. The Captain Dawes is looking after them now.
Here we are. Right through this door.
Come on, Chang. Step on it.
Chang, chop.
Say, this must have been the Octopus's office, all right. Got a short wave set and everything in it.
Yeah, but no maps or papers, except that map of Asia on the wall, Speed. They made a clean sweep of anything that might give a hint as to their destination.
Well, you've searched this room already, Bob?
Well, hurriedly. As soon as I saw that the Octopus men were arrested, I happened to notice this door and wondered where it led.
You're doing all right, Bob. Sure don't waste any time.
Well, let's get to Chang now, huh?
Chang know nothing. Chang not Octopus follower. Chang poor Chinese farmer.
Who said anything about you being an Octopus gangster?
Oh, so tight.
Gotcha that time.
But regardless of what we said, we know that you are. And expect you to cooperate with us to the fullest extent by telling us where your master is going.
Chang know nothing.
Let me at him a minute, Clint.
All right, go ahead.
Look, wise guy. Do you know what this is I'm holding up in front of you?
Oh, so a fist.
Yeah, that's right, a fist. So you do know something after all. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Unless you tell us everything you know about the octopus and where he's going, this fist is going to smack you right on the nose.
No.
Don't like it, huh? Ain't so brave when you haven't got a gun. All right, then, spill everything you know.
Me tell all I know. Not know much. Chang just out look here on hill, not know where master is going.
Oh, you're going to start that again. All right, fella, if you want it that way. But there's 4 of us in here to 1 of you. And we'll last a lot longer than you, so you might as well come.
Master, do you think that any of the police survived the aerial attack?
No, Quan Wu. And if a few did, then the crew in the hangar could dispatch them easily.
But I was thinking...
What?
We did not stay to make sure of their destruction. If some of the police managed to survive both the machine gun fire and also the attack of the men in the hangar, would there be a risk of them learning of our destination?
Have you so little faith in me, Quan Wu?
It is not lack of faith, Master, but there was so little time to remember such minor details.
I think of everything, do not worry. Suppose some of the police did survive, even Barlow and Dunlap. And I know for a certainty that they cannot be alive. But if they should happen to learn where we are going, let them follow us. Tibet is a good battleground for me.
And an important base for your smuggling and other operations, Master. Would not the presence of the secret police greatly interfere with your activity?
It is plain to be seen that you know little of the country, Quan Wu.
You people do, Master.
And I am one of the few, do not forget that. I could go anywhere in the world and know what sort of conditions I was up against. The political situation, the sort of protection I was to have. Remember, I have many powerful friends in high places. I shouldn't call them friends, for I know they fear and hate me. But because of the fear they bear me, they will do my bidding.
Yes, Master.
You seem doubtful, Wu. But just because we left Hong Kong is no sign that I have failed in any way. I believe that I accomplished as much as possible there, and that it was time to leave. Also, I rid myself of the one man who might have seriously interfered with my activities, Clint Barlow. And I destroyed him just when he thought he had me in his grasp.
Come on, now hurry up, Chang. Tell us what you know. We're not going to waste much more time in talking to you.
I think we wasted too much already, Clint. Let's rough him up a little. You get on that side. Bob, get on this, and I'll work on his head.
What'll I do, Barney?
You just stand by and watch him, kid. Let us know when he's ready to talk.
All right.
What you do?
Just what I said, Chang. Got his right arm, Bob?
Yep. Yeah, and I'm ready on this side.
Fine. I'll be ready just as soon as I can find something heavy enough for a club.
No, don't touch on me. Octopus touched me many times. Oh, mercy.
Will you talk then?
Oh, yes. Only don't hit me. Mercy. Oh,
and will you tell the truth?
Oh, yes. Chang tell all he know, tell everything.
All right, then. Start talking now. Where's the octopus going?
Poll.
What do you mean, Pooh? I'll smack you for that crap.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Barney. I happen to know what he means. Tibetans call their country Po instead of Tibet. Most people think the name Tibet came from 2 Tibetan words, I think it's To-Po, meaning Upper Tibet.
Well, why don't he say what he means then, instead of talking foreign?
Always say Poll.
Are you a Tibetan?
No. Live there for a while. I work for Octopus there.
What doing?
Come on, speak up or you get that club over your head.
Smuggle Chinese over Himalaya mountains into India.
Smuggling, huh?
Anything else, Chang? Any other sort of operation?
Oh, not no.
What do you mean you not know?
Octopus just treat Chang like coolie. Was other business, but we who smuggle not know what.
Other business? Maybe that's what the octopus is using Miss Marsh's brother for, Clint.
Did you ever see any of the others involved in this business you know nothing about, Cheng?
What? See Maybe some.
Anybody by the name of Winfield?
Oh, not no name.
Now, that's how the octopus has gotten along as far as he has. He keeps all his activities separated, so if one is discovered, the workers know little or nothing about anything else.
But Chang can tell us a lot more than he has. How many octopus gangsters are left in Hong Kong?
All here. In underground plain house.
Plain house?
He means hangar. Clint, do you think he's telling the truth?
I doubt it, Speed. The octopus would have some means of keeping in touch with Hong Kong, and he certainly wouldn't concentrate them all here in the hangar. He has spies throughout the city, all right, but we can't round them up right now. That job is for Captain Dawes and his men. We've got bigger game to hunt.
And we're really going to follow the octopus into Tibet?
Yes, and we've got a lot to do before we can take off. But first of all, we'll have to check on that plane that Ying told us about.
Has the International Secret Police a branch in Tibet?
No, but we'll establish one. We have so many stations in China that heretofore it was unnecessary to branch out into Tibet. With the octopus there, however, the whole situation has changed.
Yeah, but look, Clint. Tibet is a big place. Just where in Tibet is the octopus going first?
Oh, please. I'm not saying more. Octopus will bring revenge down on my head.
You tell us or you'll get a lot more than revenge down on your head. And a lot quicker.
I tell.
Come on, let's have it then.
Oh, first octopus go to Yancheng Chengla.
Yancheng, what?
Wait a minute. I think I recognize that name. It's a big mountain range.
Gee, the octopus sure sticks close to mountains, don't he?
And it certainly won't stay there. Probably lay over just long enough to make sure everything is safe and running smoothly at his real headquarters. Where are these mountains, Cheng?
In southern Po, or Tibet, you call it. The mountains rise from the valley of the Sangpo River near Tangri North, Sky Lake, on the fringe of Chiangtang.
Hey, what's he talking about?
Now, wait a minute. Can you translate the name of the mountain range in our tongue?
Oh, yes. Oh, bad place. Yancheng means the spirit of the expanse of great fear.
Spirit of the expanse of great fear. Golly.
Sounds like the happy hunting grounds to me.
Can you show us on a map exactly where the octopus will land in these mountains, Cheng?
Oh, yes, can do.
Then let's get a map of Tibet. The spirit of the expanse of great fear may be the end of the trail for the octopus. At least it will if we have anything to do with it.
Stay tuned next for the Jack Haley program.
Welcome to Jack Haley's Log Cabin Jamboree. Welcome to Log Cabin Jamboree. Welcome to a weekly jubilee. Don't be a stranger, we want you to be a member of Log Cabin Jamboree. This half hour of fun and melody is brought to you by the makers of Log Cabin Syrup, America's largest selling fine table syrup. With that rich, real maple flavor to give your pancakes, waffles, and hot biscuits that final touch of deliciousness. And here he comes now, that 100% All-American throwback, Jack Haley.
Hey, what a game. What a game at the Rose Bowl today. Two great teams, Warren. Alabama-California.
What's the hyphen for, Jack?
To keep Alabama away from California.
Well, tell me, Jack, where did you get those large circles under your eyes?
Warren, if you had to watch the game through a knothole, you'd have circles under your eyes, too.
Well, Jack, don't tell me you couldn't get a ticket.
Warren, I pulled every string I know of, and I couldn't get a ticket.
Oh, but you've got a lot of influential friends in this town. Did you see the governor?
I sure did. He had the knothole right next to me.
Jack, there must have been a terrific crowd there.
Oh, there was, Warren. And, you know, a big husky fella came along and tried to get my knothole away from me. But
he did?
Yes. He started a fight with me, and he knocked me down, and I got up, and then he knocked me down the second time, and I got up, and he knocked me down the third time, and I got mad, and I kicked him.
Oh. You shouldn't have done that, Jack.
Well, it was the third down. I had to kick. Come in. Come in. Who's at the door? Come in. What are you knocking on that door for?
I guess it's just the tomboy in me.
Hello, Jack.
Hello, Wendy. Say, I saw you at the game with John Wilson, the radio announcer, and you seem to be enjoying yourself.
Yes, Jack. John kept me in stitches all through the game.
I didn't know he was that funny.
Oh, he isn't. But he was reading me Jack Benny's program for tomorrow night.
Well, why didn't you read him our program for the night?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. He went there to enjoy himself.
He went, huh? As if I care.
Oh, but Jack, you should have seen poor John. He couldn't locate his seat. When he got to tier 7, they sent him to tier 8.
Mm.
And when he got to tier 8, they sent him to tier 9. It looked so funny, I went into stitches all over again.
Oh, I see. While you were in stitches, he was in tears. Wendy, I want to tell you something. You shouldn't go out so often with John Wilson. You know that people are talking.
Really, Jack? What are they saying?
They're saying, there goes John with the Wendy.
Say, Jack, how did you like the game today?
Oh, it was wonderful, Virginia.
Say, Jack, remember last year when we couldn't afford to go?
Yeah.
And remember how we walked away up on a hill near the Rose Bowl to watch the game?
Yeah. Then some other people came up on the hill and we had to watch the game.
Rah, rah, rah. Biff, boom, bah. Here comes Fiorito, nature in the raw. Oh, boy, am I exhausted watching the big game in the Hollywood Bowl.
But, Ted, the big game was held in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, don't tell me how far back I had to sit.
Why didn't you go to the Rose Bowl?
I'm afraid to go out with a big crowd.
What do you fear from the... What do you fear from the mob? Just as I thought. A lot you know about football.
Oh, yeah? Well, I went to college and I belong to an exclusive society. You should see my fraternity pin.
You mean fraternity pin. Take it off and let me look at it, Ted.
What, lose my trousers?
A lot you know about college.
Yeah? What would you say if I told you I spent a term at Wellesley College, and oh boy, did I have fun.
Wellesley College, that's for girls.
Oh boy, did I have fun.
Weren't you afraid the teacher would catch you, Ted?
It wasn't the teacher I was worried about. It was my principal.
Some class to that joke. Come in.
Pardon me, Mr. Haley, but I'm sorry to be interrupting you, but can you let me have a dime for a cup of coffee?
Why, yes, sir. Here you are.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Haley.
Say, you don't appear to be an ordinary panhandler.
Oh, I'm not. I was a millionaire.
Yeah?
I had my own home, cars, a yacht, everything that money could buy. But look at me now, dead broke, not a penny to my name.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What caused it? Bad investment?
No, worse than that.
Stock market?
No, worse than that.
Well, was it gambling?
No, it was worse than that.
Then what was it?
I bought 2 tickets for the Rose Bowl game.
don't care. He's broke, he's broke. Hey, California, it's cold and it's damp. Let's find the lady in the tramp.
Playing The Lady is a Tramp. And now, ladies and gentlemen...
Hey, Jack, have you made your New Year's resolution yet?
No, I haven't, Warren.
Well, I've already made mine.
You have?
Yes, Jack, I realize that ever since our program started, I've been hurling insults at you. And, Jack, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, Warren.
No, Jack, I made a sincere resolution that from today on, I'm never going to call you any of those old names again.
You really mean that, Warren? No more of those old names?
No, sirree. But wait until you hear the new ones I've got.
Listen, Warren, some of these days... phone, I guess. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Haley?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Haley, I made a resolution to call this program today.
You did?
Yes, Mr. Haley. I've listened to every radio program this past year, and I know without a doubt that your program is the finest on the air, and you, why, you are the greatest comedian of them all.
Oh, thank you, but who are you?
I'm just a dreamer.
Hey, Ted, come here.
Yes, Jack?
What are you cutting out this year?
The same thing as last year.
What's that, Ted?
Paper dolls.
Aren't you making any resolutions this year, Ted?
Jack, I'm going to do everything in my power to improve this program.
Now, Ted, don't tell me that you're leaving us.
Of course I'm not leaving. But I did make a resolution to go out with Carol Lombard this year.
But, Ted, what will you do if Carol Lombard doesn't resolve to go out with you?
Don't bother me with details.
Say, Warren, I've got a swell idea.
What is it, Jack?
Well, people make New Year's resolutions in private. That's that Theorita. Have me talking just like him. And they make resolutions in private, and they're easy to break, aren't they?
That's right.
But if people made resolutions publicly, they wouldn't break them so quickly. Don't you think? Or do they?
Well, what's your idea, Jack?
Well, let's invite anyone from the audience to come up here and publicly make their New Year's resolution.
Hey, that's a great idea.
How about it, folks? Is there anyone who wants to come up here and make a resolution? Who's going to be the first one to start the resolution?
I'll start one, Mr. Haley. Fellow workers, down with capital, down with labor, down with the bosses, down with everything.
Hey, wait a minute.
What's that?
I invited you up here to make a resolution.
I thought you said revolution, boy.
How about you, mister?
I'd like to make a resolution, Mr. Haley.
Go right ahead, sir.
Mr. Haley, I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to give any party.
You're giving up a lot, aren't you?
I have to. I'm broke.
Close that door, will you? He's broke. I spent New Year's Eve at the Trocadero, and he's complaining.
Is that where you were last night, Jack?
Yes, Warren. It was New Year's Eve, and I went first class. I drove up in front of the Trocadero, and the man said, "May I take your car, Mr. Haley?" I said, "Yes." I didn't know he was from the finance company.
Mr. Haley, do you mind if I make a resolution?
Not at all, sir. Go right ahead.
Well, I've been listening to your radio programs, and I hereby resolve never to look at a sheet of music again, and I resolve never to play a note again as long as I live.
Well, who are you?
I'm Ted Fiorito's music teacher.
How do you like that? Say, Warren, we're getting away from our resolutions. Who's next? Here's a distinguished-looking gentleman. Mister, did you come up here to make a resolution?
Yeah, I didn't come here to dilly-dilly. 30 days got September, April, June, and November. All the rest got 31, except February, which has 28. And believe me, it's a shame to pay a full month's rent for only 28 days.
Why, look, you're up here to make a resolution, please.
Just don't rush me, because I was rushed enough today in Pasadena.
Oh, so you saw the parade today in Pasadena?
Oh, sure. I saw there the tournament of the Rosenblum.
Then you saw one of the most wonderful spectacles we have here in California.
Yeah, man. You know, Mr. Haley, was there such a crowd? And what flowers? I saw over 1 million flowers.
How many?
1,000 flowers.
How many?
100.
How many?
All right, so there was a fella there with a carnation in his buttonhole.
What was the most interesting float that you saw?
Oh, there was one float, Mr. Haley, with a girl dressed from head to foot in oranges. And I had all I could do to keep myself from jumping up on the float and hugging the girl.
You did?
Yeah. Can I help that if I like to squeeze oranges?
That must have been a very lovely float.
Indeed. And you know there was another float representing a battleship, all made out of oranges.
A battleship made out of oranges?
Yeah, they were naval oranges.
They were... I didn't know that an orange is the favorite fruit of the Navy.
It isn't.
It isn't? Then what is?
An apple is.
Hey, the lights are out. What's happened?
I guess you're wondering who I am and what I'm going to do. I'm the ghost of 1937. I've got a bone to pick with you.
Why, listen, Ghost, there's something wrong. I thought that you had gone.
Not yet, my son. The year is dead, but the memory lingers on. You all welcomed me 12 months ago with tears and howls of glee. You promised me a million things, then disappointed me.
Why, Ghost of the departed year, I'm surprised the way you talk. We've had worse years than you before. I can't see why you squawk.
Oh, surprised to hear my just complaints. Surprised to hear me beat. Why, since the day I came to life, you fill my days with grief, with business bad, and strife in Spain, and war on Asia's slope. It shows you humans never learn. You're just a bunch of dope.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Ghost. That's not quite fair to us. Other years have carried loads and never raised a fuss. They've had their wars, catastrophes, and never stopped to cry. They carried on without complaint, and one by one passed by.
That's true, young man, but no other year ever carried such a curse as the one I got 3 months ago. No grief was ever worse.
I can't imagine what it is that caused you so much pain. What's worse than war, depression, or the Civil War in Spain?
12 weeks ago, I got a curse, a load I could not bear. On top of all my troubles, Haley, you went on there.
When you think that you're crazy, you're the victim of the dipsy doodle. Oh, but it's not your mind that's hazy. It's your tongue that's at fault, like the noodle. So you better listen and try to be good, and try to do all the things that you should. The dipsy doodle will get you someday, and you'll think you're crazy. The things that you say, like rhythm guy and hot am I. That's the way the dipsy doodle works. The dipsy doodle's a thing to beware. The dipsy doodle will get in your head, and if it gets you, it couldn't be worse. The things you say will come out in reverse, like me love I and me love you. That's the way the dipsy doodle works. The dipsy doodle is easy to find. It's almost always in back of your mind. You never know it until it's too late, and then you're in such a terrible state, like the moon jumped over the cow-hated diddle. That's the way the dipsy doodle works. When you think that you're crazy and you're the victim of the dipsy doodle. But it's not your mind that's crazy. It's your tongue that's the fault, not your noodle. You better listen and try to be good and try to do all the things that you should. The dipsy doodle will get you someday. You'll think you're crazy. The things that you say, like rhythm guy and how am I. That's the way the dipsy doodle works.
That was Virginia Verrill singing the Gypsy Doodle, and here is Warren Howe.
Thanks, Jack. Friends, let's listen to two neighbors meeting at their morning marketing. One of them is just completing her grocery order.
And pancake flour and some log cabin syrup, please.
Log cabin syrup? Yes, ma'am.
Mildred, it looks as if George were going to have pancakes and log cabin for breakfast tomorrow. And not only George, I'm eating a real breakfast these mornings, too. You know, I checked with my doctor on what Virginia Verrill said on the log cabin syrup program the other night, and he backed it up. What do you mean? Well, he said that all active people need a real breakfast. But doesn't a breakfast like that have to be succulent? Oh, not at all. You cut down on dinner a bit because all you do afterwards is sit around and don't use up any energy. And then you add to your breakfast because you use the energy through the day. Both George and I feel so much better this way. Well, I think I'll try that with Fred. We haven't had pancakes in ages. I know Fred will go for them.
And friends, try eating a real breakfast yourself tomorrow. Serve pancakes or waffles and log cabin syrup at least twice during the week. Then see how much better you and your whole family feel along about 11 o'clock morning, especially in these cold winter months.
But on your pancakes or waffles, make sure you use luscious, mellow log cabin syrup to add the final touch of deliciousness. No wonder it's the largest selling fine table syrup in America. Your grocer has log cabin syrup. Get some first thing.
Virginia, come here a minute, will you?
What is it, Jack?
I'm making a New Year's resolution right now, never to kiss you anymore.
Why, Jack. Well, Jack, you just kissed me.
Oh, shucks, I broke my resolution.
Oh, you shouldn't do that with all these people listening in.
Don't worry. I'll ask them to pardon us. Listen, folks. If we seem to be gazing blankly at the moon above, please pardon us, we're in love.
If we seem to do things in public we've been dreaming of, please pardon us, we're in love.
If we seem sort of kind of lackadaisical,
it's 'cause we feel love, honor, and obey because
I think I can learn a lesson here. Do you mind if I draw up a chair? Wait, Ted. Teddy, please don't stare. Gee, is he getting our hair?
Here's us, please. Pardon us, we're in love.
Oh, honey, why does everybody look at us so funny? Wonder what we do or say makes them laugh at us that way.
Oh, honey, yes, we plan on no much Jackson funny. Listen, population.
Here's our explanation. Love is on the air tonight. It's on a coast-to-coast hookup.
Never thought I'd call, but now I hear love call. I'm getting sentimental all over you.
If we're holding hands and stop to kiss on a busy thoroughfare, and it's the way we stare, seems to get in your hair.
Well, excuse us, please.
Accept our apology.
We tender our regret.
We're sorry, folks. What can we say, folks, after we say we're sorry? Oh, please. 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 Pardon us, we're in love. Thank you. That was Virginia Bell and yours truly singing Please Pardon Us, We're in Love. And now, ladies, come in.
Mr. Haley?
Yes, sir.
I heard you making resolutions on the air, and I resolved to come right down here and try once more to interest you in my merchandise.
Now, look, mister, I'm a very busy man, and I don't want to buy anything.
Don't you remember me, Mr. Haley? Don't you remember I was here several weeks ago and tried to tell you some jokes?
Say, you're not the man with the joke meter hen.
Precisely, and I've got Tilly, my joke meter hen, right here in the bag. Quiet, Tilly, quiet.
Now, listen, mister, I told you the last time you were here that I didn't need your jokes, and I don't need them now.
Mr. Haley, I beg to differ with you. I've been listening to your programs, and believe me, you need this clap to click.
Well, I don't remember. Just what does Tilly, this hen, do?
Well, you tell a joke. If it's good, Tilly does nothing. If it's bad, you'll hear from her. Right, Tilly? Right. Now, you go right ahead, Mr. Haley, and tell a joke.
All right. All right, I'll tell one. Here goes. The moth leads a funny life. He spends the winter in a bathing suit and the summer in a fur coat. Oops. Hey, that hen just laid an egg.
And so did your joke. You see, Haley, you're getting the idea.
Say, that's all right. Nice-looking hen, too. Say, do you mind if I tell another joke?
No, go right ahead. You can't fool Tilly.
All right.
Right on her toes.
All right, here's one. More money is spent at Christmas time than any other time of the year. But still, poor old Santa Claus is always in the red. I didn't care for that one myself. Say, when you were here before, didn't you tell me that you sold a lot of the comedians on the air jokes?
Absolutely. I not only sell them jokes, I also sell them the eggs.
I forget. How much are the eggs?
At 35 cents a dozen.
Well, how much are the jokes?
30 cents a dozen.
Why do you charge more for the eggs?
Well, look at the wear and hair on the tin.
He's fumbling worse than Alabama did. How is that?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Haley, Tilly comes by her talents very naturally.
She does?
Yes, indeed. Before she was born, her mother was frightened by a radio comedian.
That's who the radio comedian is.
Mr. Haley, let's not be enemies. Look, this hen is really a house pet. She was born under my bed.
Oh, I see. A spring chicken. Hey.
No, quiet.
Wait a
Quiet,
minute.
Billy, quiet.
Hey, she laid two eggs that time. What's the idea of the second egg?
Well, she ad-libbed that one.
That's mighty white of her. But I think that this hen is a fake. You got to... I do, too. Quiet. I think you got to train to lay eggs whether my jokes are good or bad.
Well, now, wait a minute. I'll tell a good joke and we'll see the difference. Now, here's a new one. I just found out that Papa Dion is a politician because when he heard his wife presented him with 5 children, he yelled, "I demand a recount."
For a minute, I thought Tilly was going to double-cross you. Well, I think you've convinced me and I'm ready to do business with you.
Wait a minute, Jack. Before you give him any money, why don't you let the hen hear a joke from me, a rank outsider?
I wouldn't call you an outsider, Ted.
Would you mind if I tell a joke, mister?
No, go right ahead. You can't fool Tilly.
All right. I like to go out with my stenographer because she's just my type.
Now look what you did. Hey, Tilly, be quiet. Now, take it easy, old girl.
Can't you stop her?
No, she's landing in the aisle.
What do we do?
I don't know. She's never been like that. Now, stop, Tilly, stop. Now, quick, control your... Do something. Tell a good joke. That'll stop her.
All right, I'll tell one. 2 traveling salesmen stopped at a farmhouse and they...
That wasn't good. Tell another one.
All right, there were 2 Irishmen, Pat and Mike.
Now, do something.
She's got that old feeling.
What was that?
Sounds like she laid a cornerstone.
Tilly, please, speak to me. What's wrong? I should never come back on this program. I should have known better. Tilly. Now you see what she's done? Tilly passed out. My prize bullet. I gotta go get a doctor.
Jackie left the hen here. What are you going to do with it?
I don't know, but I'm the first one on radio to get the Pulitzer Prize. I know that. Take it, Ted. She's up again. Take it.
Was Ted Fiorito and the orchestra playing I Double Dare You. Now, before Jack Haley returns, ladies, here's some really exciting news. Already, thousands of women everywhere are now making better pancakes with that fine copper griddle Log Cabin is offering. And because we're sure that you, too, want one of these Log Cabin griddles for your pancakes, we urge you to act at once and take advantage of this offer. Let me tell you again about this griddle and how easy it is to get one for yourself. First, about the griddle. It's a solid copper griddle, beautifully finished in chromium. It's about 8 inches in diameter, light in weight, and with a non-heat conducting handle that's easy to hold. This griddle has a guaranteed retail value of $1.50 or more. Now, besides being ideal for your pancakes, you'll find it perfect for frying bacon, sausages, and many other things. Now, how to get this griddle? Here's all you do. Send your name and address with only 50 cents in stamps or coins to Log Cabin Syrup, Battle Creek, Michigan. There are no strings to this offer. Anyone can get one of these griddles while our supply lasts. We're offering you this griddle because we're sure that if you like it, you'll at least try Log Cabin Syrup. And we know you'll like that. And so I repeat, just send your name and address with only 50 cents in stamps or coin to Log Cabin Syrup, Battle Creek, Michigan. This offer is for a limited time only, good while the supply lasts, and it's going fast. So send for your griddle right away.
This is Jack Haley, your man Saturday, asking you to be my pal Sunday by using Log Cabin Syrup on your pancakes and waffles. Happy New Year, and so good night from Wendy Barry, Virginia Bell, Warren Hull, and Ted Fiorito. Until next week, when again you'll be... Welcome to Log Cabin Jamboree. Welcome to a weekly jubilee. Don't be a stranger, we want you to
remember Log Cabin Jamboree.
Tune in for a full hour of entertainment every Saturday night from 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. 1/2 hour with Believe It or Not Bob Ripley, and at 8:30 another big Log Cabin Jamboree from Hollywood, starring Jack Haley. Heard on the program was a selection Thank You for a Lovely Evening from Palais Royal Review, Anything Goes from the show of that name, Please Pardon Us, We're in Love from You Can't Have Everything, and The Lady of the Tramp from Babes in Arms. This program came to you from the NBC studios in Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Stay tuned for a special broadcast.
Forecasting 1938. What will happen in 1938? What's to become of China? Of Spain?
Who will be this year's most popular new movie star? What about hats? Skirts?
Will the League of Nations dissolve? Who will win the 1938 World Series?
What will be new in music, in drama, in radio? Will the cost of living go up?
Will we have more taxes? Less income? Where will we be this time next year? Those, ladies and gentlemen, are the questions on everyone's lips as the old year dies and as we experience the first day of 1938. Tonight, the Columbia Network, in cooperation with King Feature Syndicate and International News Service, presents the third annual forecast of coming events and undertakes to answer for you the questions of the hour, to predict important events of the coming year. From all parts of the world, London, Washington, Chicago, Hollywood, famous writers and personalities are ready with their expert opinions on what is going to happen in 1938. And to guide you on this coast-to-coast forecast, here is Columbia's ace special events man, Bob Trout.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very happy new year. You've just heard questions for which predictions will be given during the next 45 minutes. And now let's glance briefly at our predictions made at this time last year on our forecast of 1937.
Japan will crowd the headlines. The New York Yankees will win the World Series.
Styles and hats will go haywire. The Anna Durbin is a sure bet for stardom.
The United States will regain the Davis Cup.
Concert attendance will be the biggest since 1929.
We'll have large bombing planes with 3-inch cannons. The world is destined for increased warfare. Military and naval preparedness will be the watchword of the year 1937.
Our predictions for last year were about 85% accurate. But what of 1938? Waiting to answer that question are some of the world's experts in every important field of activity. And of these, we've asked Mr. Barry Farris, Editor-in-Chief of International News Service, to lead off as our Editor-in-Chief. Mr. Farris.
In looking forward to making news assignments in 1938, an editor is faced with an unpleasant picture. Right now, our attention is riveted upon the Far East. As the Japanese war machine continues its devastating advance in China, we keep a close watch to see whether Soviet Russia is likely to be drawn into the war. The signs are clear that Russia is preparing to dispute Japan's march. An open break between these two nations in 1938 is possible. This Far Eastern picture holds great concern for all of us. The critical situation growing out of the bombing of the American gunboat Panay clearly illustrated the danger that constantly confronts the United States. Japan's solemn pledge that the rights of Americans and other foreigners will be most scrupulously respected in the future has allayed for the present the tension that gripped this country for nearly 2 weeks. The year 1938 should see the end of another war that has raged for a year and a half. I refer to the struggle for control of Spain. Franco's forces slowly but surely have drawn tighter and tighter the ring encircling their opponents, and it seems certain that the coming year will bring an end to hostilities. Here at home, our attention is largely centered on Washington. What will the new Congress do? It seems certain that the President is going to continue his drive for minimum wage, maximum hour legislation. Administration leaders declare the Ludlow War referendum bill will be defeated. Business leaders everywhere want to know what the tax program will be. There is little doubt that adjustments in the present tax law will be made. The year 1938 will see the initial flights in a regular transatlantic flying service. Mails may be carried on a regular transatlantic schedule before the year is over, although regular passenger service may not come for another year. Far-reaching advances will be made in developing faster and more formidable fighting aircraft for the United States Army and Navy. New planes that have been developed in recent months and tested secretly have been flown at incredible speeds. But enough from me. I think you should hear from our reporters who cover the news beats of the world. Hillman and Knickerbocker at London, Holmes at Washington, Dave Walsh, the Sports Authority, and many others. They're all ready to speak to you.
And we're all ready to hear from them, Barry Farris.
All right, Bob, let's hop on the airwaves.
Very good, Mr. Editor. To cover a frightened Europe, we bring you two of the star correspondents of International News Service, William Hillman and H.R. Knickerbocker, who will speak to you from London. These two great reporters will be introduced by Columbia's European representative, Edward Murrow. We take you now to London, England.
This is London. Here is William Hillman to tell you about Europe in 1938. Mr. Hillman.
Hello, America. It is early Sunday morning here, and the peace of Sabbath shrouds for a while the smelting furnaces of Europe, which nightly light the skies in the grim task of building cannon and fashioning bombs. Seldom has Europe in the last 2 decades started a new year with so troubled a heart. As the feverish arms race continues, statesmen scramble for new friends, and political philosophies are strung across the world in chains of alliances, from which bombs may be dropped in China and in Spain. Europe is like a runner condemned by some fate to an eternal high hurdle race. Hurdle after hurdle of difficulties and heartbreaking tests, Europe has to clear or stumble. 1938 may see her stumble, but the high hurdle race is becoming as ghastly an experience as any stumble into war. 1938, the most critical year since the war, will witness the last realistic attempt to bring about a balanced peace in Europe. Neville Chamberlain may be the man of destiny. Chamberlain seeks the almost impossible task of appeasing Great Britain, France, Germany, and Italy. He will seek to frame a pact of pacification, a new framework of European cooperation to replace the broken-down system of collective security and reform the League of Nations. The recent improvement in relations between Great Britain and Germany gives some hope. For Hitler holds the key of European peace. But relations between Italy and Great Britain are reaching a danger point. Only Hitler can hold Mussolini, and if Chamberlain cannot satisfy him, and if Mussolini cannot be held by Hitler, then the Mediterranean clash long threatened may come. The greatest danger in Europe is some sudden and mad dog act on the part of dictators. While Britain seeks peace, she grimly rearms on land and sea and in the air, and feverishly cultivates new friendships, entrenching herself against the threatened assaults of the have-nots in the process of acquiring, as modern history should be described. So far, the preponderance of strength in Europe remains with the haves, or democratic powers. But a sort of diplomania has seized Europe, as axis is balanced against axis. In her search for allies, Great Britain has turned to the United States. Closer relations than ever existing since the World War now exist between London and Washington. A new diplomatic terminology, which you should add to your diplomatic vocabulary, has been invented to describe this relationship. It is no longer cooperation or joint action. It is parallel action. Parallel action. Remember these words, for they may bring Uncle Sam off his isolationist fence and add President Roosevelt to your list of key men in Europe.
And now, H.R. Knickerbocker, what about the Far East?
Hello, America. Now one more year has passed, and now more than ever we should thank God that 2 oceans separate us from the frenzied war makers. Yet we should not make the mistake that the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans are sufficient to protect us. The lesson of the last 3 years is that nothing can save us from war but our own ability to defeat an aggressor. For the third time in the last 3 years, I've just come back from a war. First in Abyssinia, then in Spain, and just now in China. This time I've just arrived in Shanghai after a 13,000-mile trip across Russia and Europe. This was the worst war of all the three. As I watched the Japanese Army, Navy, and Air Force smash China, I realized that this was the final lesson that the war makers have to teach the pacifists. China was pacifist. China did not want to fight, but the old adage that it takes two to make a quarrel is false. It only takes one to make a war. For more than 3 months, I watched the Japanese bite into the body and finally into the heart of China. That nation of 450 million people was like an elephant in a stupor, drugged and only half the weight, attacked by a tiger intent upon fresh meat for its dinner. The Chinese have believed for the last 1,000 years that a fighting man is the lowest class of human beings, whereas the Japanese regard the fighting man as the highest. Chiang Kai-shek and his remarkable wife were waking up China when Japan struck. But Japan did not give China time to wake up. And the Chinese soldiers, even in Chiang Kai-shek's crack divisions, even in his famous 88th, which defended Shanghai with such heroism, even these elite Chinese troops had but one idea, an honorably pacifist idea. The Chinese soldier said to himself, I will die for China. Over and over again, Chinese soldiers said that to me, and I've seen them die by the tens of thousands. But what did the Japanese soldier say? He said, I will kill for Japan. So the Japanese soldiers who wanted to kill for Japan went over the top and killed the Chinese soldiers who were willing to die for China. So today, Japan is master of China. Today, Japan has carried out the first 3 points of her famous imperial program. The British, Americans, and other Westerners in China are today hopelessly pessimistic. They believe they're going to lose all their investments and that their governments are going to lose nothing about it. We could perhaps afford that if by giving it up we could avoid war. But the Japanese Army, Navy, and Air Force have only contempt for the Tokyo government when it apologizes for their repeated attacks upon the Western powers. They believe that the democratic nations of the West have slipped into precisely the same defenselessness which made China such an easy victim. Once now it has become cruelly plain that nothing can restrain war makers but superior force. We have slipped back many centuries. We are back at the period when only force counts. We want, above all things, to keep our peace. The lesson the Far East brings to us this New Year's is that to keep our peace, we must build sufficient armed power to restrain any possible aggressor from laying hands upon us.
Thank you, Mr. Hillman and Mr. Knickerbocker. We return you now to America.
There's our first interview, Mr. Editor, and ladies and gentlemen, H.R. Knickerbocker, famous roving reporter, William Hillman, chief of the INS European Bureau, and Edward Murrow, Columbia's European representative, speaking to you from London. No forecast of the coming year would be complete without a preview of fashions. And in order that the ladies will not be kept waiting any longer, we bring you the fashion expert whose advice is sent to hundreds of the nation's newspapers through King Feature Syndicate, Miss Prunella Wood.
Wish me a Happy New Year, Bob Trout. I feel as if I'm going to meet it in 1938.
All right, what's the trouble, Prunella?
Well, I'm faced with a crisis in my career as a fashion writer, and I'm as nervous as a rabbit over the way things are going around here.
Well, how are they going?
Well, you see, Bob, last year on this forecasting program for 37, everything broke just right for me. I warned the girls out in the big world to watch out for surrealism in their clothes, not to be surprised to find themselves wearing hats shaped like shoes, and lobsters on their dresses instead of corsages, and all that sort of fancy nonsense. And it went over big, and it turned out to be the truth, even if it wasn't exactly the solemn truth. Ah, but this year, I'm awful upset about the prospects.
Well, why?
Well, you see, we've been chasing fashion in advance as fashion writers for so long that we're bound to catch up with ourselves. It looks to me as if we're going to wear furs in January this year and chiffon in summer, and you can't make a dazzling career out of common sense and fashions, Bob. Now you take Sonia Haney, wearing a tulle ballet skirt as she skips over the ice. Well, now a fashion writer has something there. Or take one of our Hollywood beauties leaning against a palm tree, bathed in California's famous sunshine and sweltering in wool slacks and a mink coat. I can go to town on that. But when you put the flannels on Sonia and bundle her up for winter weather from the tip of her nose to the tip of her tootsie, what have you got? A sensible girl dressed sensibly for a little ice skating. And if this return to normal continues, I'm going to have one awful time being advanced in knowing about what's to be smart to be worn in 1938.
Well, now, Prunella, couldn't you think up some novelties on your own?
Well, I don't think it's going to be such a good year for novelties. There's already a rush on clothes of tropical South American design for women to wear down in our tropics in the South this winter. That's not novel. It's only sensible. And then there's all this restraint in the matter of hairdos. Oh, they get so simple and simple. Why, lots of women are having their locks marcelled with an old-fashioned iron, very softly and naturally, turning thumbs down on complicated curls and all that sort of confection. It's enough to make you weep, Bob. I don't look forward to any promotions either, like gold eyelid shadow or hats copied off the Chrysler Tower elevators and all, and glass hats, or in fact any hats that don't look just like hats to wear on the head. Bitter, I tell you, it's bitter, Bob. And shoes look more and more like something to wear on the feet. And the new handbags are just that, the handbags. Why, a child could call any of them by the right name. Say, I want to tell you something. I actually know a woman who buys pajamas to sleep in because she prefers them to gowns. Is that going pretty far? For years we've been wearing them entirely for traveling, you know, and for dinner at home, and for walking the dog, and for beach lounging, and anything but sleeping. Yeah, I'm sort of scared, Bob.
Well, now, I hate to see you so worried, Prunella.
Well, what can I do, after all? I wish you wished me a Happy New Year again, Bob. I'm just going to need it before this year is over, I know.
Well, Happy New Year, Prunella.
Well, that's mighty fine of your partner, and Happy New Year to you, too. A Happy New Year, and let the mink coats fall where they may.
And there's Prunella Wood's preview of this year's fashions, and if what the ladies will wear is coming back to normal, well, that's all right with us mere men. Now we gaze into the skies and search for the future of aviation. Captain Eddie Rickenbacker, General Manager of Eastern Airlines, has sent us this message.
The generous acceptance of air transport during 1937 augurs well for the year 1938. More miles will be flown, more passengers, airmail, and express carried. Cruising speeds will exceed 200 miles per hour, and planes will continue to grow larger with ever-increasing comfort and convenience. The bridging of the Atlantic by commercial transport planes in from 20 to 24 hours will become a reality.
For a prediction on our national affairs, our forecast moves to the nation's capital and to George Holmes, Chief of the International News Service Washington Bureau. Ladies and gentlemen, we take you now to Washington, D.C.
Washington looks to 1938 with a feeling that probably could best be described as hopeful expectancy. There are no tears being shed here over the passing of 1937. It was a year of uncertainty, of turmoil, of business recession, of international anxiety, of hopes unfulfilled, both at home and abroad. And so Washington embraces 1938 with the feeling that whatever the cards hold, or however they fall, there is bound to be improvement. Congress returns to the Washington scene next Monday for an indefinite run. It is a Congress filled with sectional jealousies and split into snarling factions, and incidentally facing re-election in primaries and elections this year. It is the same Congress that gave a convincing demonstration of its inability to legislate for 9 out of the 12 months of 1937. A curious institution, this 75th Congress, which came into office on the crest of the greatest political landslide this country ever saw. No party ever had such complete domination of any Congress as the Democrats have had over this one. No president ever had such party control of a legislative body. Yet no Congress has ever gotten so completely out of hand, and no Congress has ever been more rebellious. It is in that mood that Congress reassembles on Monday to hear President Roosevelt's annual message on the state of the nation. No message since the dark days of 1933 has been more eagerly awaited. Congress is looking to it to furnish a guideline, a direction marker for 1938. Business is in a slump. The budget is still unbalanced. Unemployment is still the great national headache. The world is filled with war and war's alarms. In such circumstances, it is not surprising that Washington looks to 1938 hopefully, expectantly, but also with some misgivings. There are many ifs as Washington attempts a preview of 1938. If business improves, the budget probably will be balanced. If business improves, the unemployment and relief situation won't be such a headache. If the Japanese refrain from sinking any more of our war vessels, there won't be any international complications. Hopes are high, but doubts are many. In 1938, the New Deal faces a new test at the polls. The entire membership of the House of Representatives come up for renomination in the primaries and re-election in November. A third of the 96 senators face similar tests. Thus far, the New Deal has been uniformly successful. In 32, again in 34, and still again in 36, when it won its greatest triumph. It would be expecting too much that this run of political luck should continue through 1938. The Republicans are at rock bottom. The Democrats are at tops. Inasmuch as in American politics there must be movement in some direction, the outlook is for some degree of Republican recovery. The Democrats can't go any higher, nor the Republicans any lower. 1938 is campaign year, in which many things can and probably will happen. And Washington views it hopefully, but as I said, with some misgivings. In any event, it will be a turbulent and an interesting year. Take it away, Bob Trout.
Mr. George Holmes has covered our Washington assignment from the nation's capital. As the old year ends, the subject of business is on everyone's lips, and we've asked Mr. B.C. Forbes, widely read financial writer and editor of Forbes magazine, to give us his forecast. Says Mr. Forbes.
1938 should improve with age. It starts off a sick child, but given reasonable cooperation between Washington and industry, improvement should develop by mid-year. And there is no material reason why 1938 should not end stalwartly robust.
In the realm of American humor, Arthur Bugs Bear is tops. In his daily newspaper column, Bugs delights millions of readers with his highly seasoned quips on the news of the day. And tonight, Mr. Bear forsakes the typewriter for the microphone, and here he is. You know, Bugs, after mature deliberation and thinking it over very carefully, I wish you a happy new year, if it's not too late.
Well, Bob, on sober second thought, the same to you.
What do you think of 1938 so far?
Well, we're starting it rather early, but the future always does look good until it gets here. You know, January is a good month to be optimistic.
It is, huh?
Oh, yeah, even the Brooklyn baseball fans think they have a chance in January. Uh-huh. But I'm glad to say one thing about this year.
What's that?
I balanced my budget.
You did?
Yes, sir.
Well, how'd you do it, Bugs?
Well, Bob, I'll tell you, I'm no financial genius or anything like that, but you know, for the last 6 years, I've been keeping my books in red ink.
Yeah.
Well, last night I was keeping my books in red ink. Suddenly everything turned black.
Well, that's one way to do it.
That's one way to do it. It certainly is. But, of course, I know 1938 is going to be a very good year. It's got to be.
Why?
In the first place, a man has to earn twice as much as he's worth in order to live half as well as he's accustomed to. You know that.
Yes.
But stranger things than that have happened. They just recognize a spy by his passport picture.
Uh-huh.
Can you imagine that?
Well, not quite.
That almost makes you believe in reincarnation, doesn't it? Reincarnation?
Yeah, you've got me.
It's a good idea, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think I'll come back as a worm during Apple Week.
Yeah.
That'll be all right.
Well, listen, Bugs, you think that... So you think...
Oh, sure, I certainly do. I think America's the wealthiest nation on the premises, Bob.
You do?
We're going to be all right. We can't miss.
No.
We're like Jonah kicking the whale from the inside. We got to hit something every time we kick.
Yeah.
I believe in the future of our 48 states and 6 delicious flavors.
Well, let's have some questions now.
All right.
Will any foreign princes marry American heiresses?
Will any foreign princes marry American heiresses, Bob?
Yeah.
You know that this is no spot for commercial announcements.
Oh, come on now. How about the chances of war for 1938?
Oh, they're fine. How about your folks?
Well, what about television, Bug?
Well, Bob, that's all right for some people, but it's very bad for you and for me. It's very bad for anybody else with a lemon Maltese expression.
Well, now, what's lemon Maltese expressions got to do with television, Bugs Bear? One's sour and the other one's a cat.
That's right, sourpuss.
Yeah. Well, tell me, what do you think of the new golf rule limiting each golfer to 14 clubs?
14 clubs?
Uh-huh.
That's all right if it's a short hole.
Now, look, Bugs Bear, we're not getting anywhere. How about fighting?
No thanks. No thanks. No thanks for me.
Well, I mean, who do you think will be the next heavyweight champion of the world?
Well, I thought I was last night. I'll retire without the championship.
Well, where did you celebrate last evening?
Well, we don't know. The newsreels men haven't developed the pictures yet.
Well, Bugs, you think we're going to look 1938 then, do you?
Well, I think we will have to get used to it.
Uh-huh. Well, thanks for the information, if that's what it was. It's nice to have met an optimist. You know, it must be great to be a philosopher. How'd you get that way, Bud?
I'll tell you, Bob, I was born crazy and had a relapse.
Oh. Goodbye, Bear.
Well, goodbye, Chow. I guess Waboo's names will be safe until the game season's open.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the inimitable Arthur Bugs Bear in person. Our forecast moves across the continent to Hollywood, where two international news service experts are waiting to speak to you. Harrison Carroll, motion picture writer for the Los Angeles Herald Express, will handle the movie assignment, and Davis J. Walsh, INS sports editor, will be our sports oracle. After a brief pause, the first voice you hear will be that of stargazing Harrison Carroll, who speaks in a few seconds from Hollywood.
Plans change overnight in Hollywood, and prophecies fall by the wayside. But it's safe to predict that 1938 will be the biggest year in the history of the motion picture industry. Perhaps the most notable advance will be the number of full-length color films. In 1937, there were 6, including Walt Disney's beautiful fairy tale, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But in 1938, the studios will give you 19 color films. In the matter of story trends, this year we'll see more biographies screened. The life of Victor Hugo, the life and melodies of Victor Herbert, the life of George Sand, and the young Disraeli, with Tyrone Power in the role that George Arliss once made famous. Such plans seem to indicate a dignified departure from Hollywood's present comedy craze. But comedy will hold its own, since Eve and Garbo plans to turn comedian in 1938. New Year predictions concerning some of your favorite stars are: Robert Taylor will convince his critics playing a virile role in the war story Three Comrades, which is a studio move to counteract the recent too beautiful publicity directed against the star. Charlie Chaplin finally will settle upon a picture for himself and Paulette Goddard. Yasha Heifetz, world-renowned musical personality, will score a screen hit, and Samuel Goh wins the great musical festival. Norma Shearer will emerge more radiant than ever, and Marie Antoinette. And now, what will be some of the hit pictures of 1938? With my chin out, I offer these predictions, naming as time allows: Hollywood Hotel, In Old Chicago, Mannequin, The Goldwyn Follies, Bringing Up Baby, Mad About Music, Bluebeard's Eighth Wife, and, believe it or not, the long-awaited Gone with the Wind, which will go into production in the late spring. There is in Hollywood an eternal quest for new stars. This year, many young players have proved themselves unusual performers. Then, too, Hollywood has called on Europe for glamour and talent. Look for some of these names among your 1938 favorites: Joan Fontaine, Francisca Gall, Betty Grable, Olympe Bradna, Rosemary and Priscilla Lane, Lana Turner, Connie Kelly, Marjorie Weaver, Dick Baldwin, Ilona Massey, Gloria Dixon, Annabella, Andrea Lee, and, of course, John Hall, the Goldwyn Discovery and Hurricane. In telling these names of future Hollywood headliners, I have left out at least one important player, Mary Maguire. I felt it unnecessary for me to speak for her charm when, as the Toastmaster always says, the lady is here to speak for herself. Mary, what was your introduction to Hollywood?
Well, Mr. Carroll, I really came here only on a visit. My father and I were going from Australia to New York by way of Los Angeles. But while visiting the studios, a friend of mine introduced me to Blanche Boyce. He offered me a contract at Warner's, and I've been there ever since.
Were you in pictures in Australia?
Yes, Mr. Carroll, I was. Since the age of 12, I've been acting on the screen.
What picture plans are you most looking forward to in the coming year?
The studio tells me that I'm to play one of the leads in Three Girls on Broadway. That sounds very exciting.
I should think so. A similar story, Three on a Match, served to launch Betty Davis, Joan Blondell, and Anne Dvorak to stardom. Now, Mary, what do you say is the most important thing to concentrate on in becoming a star?
Undoubtedly, your health. Everything depends on that. You have to look well and feel well to keep pace with Hollywood shooting schedule.
That's a very sensible observation, Mary, and I do hope your big success comes in 1938.
I hope so, too, Mr. Carroll. I'd like to feel that I'd accomplished my goal in Hollywood. And I'd like to become a star for another reason.
What's that?
Well, after your kind predictions on this, the first day of the new year, I'd hate to make you out of false prophets.
Thank you, Mary McGuire. But now enough of prophecy. I'll get off the air and wait for events to bear me out. Good night, and a happy new year to Hollywood and the motion picture fans everywhere.
And now we turn to the sports field for a little forecasting. For that purpose, we have a top-flight expert in the person of Davis J. Walsh, sports editor of the International News Service. Mr. Walsh.
We have some very eminent authorities here. Flip Madigan, famous coach of St. Mary's on football. Ellsworth Vines, world professional tennis champion. And Jimmy Thompson, the longest hitter in golf, whose only wish is to break down and confide all, and my curiosity being as great as yours, I desire to yield gracefully to them. First, though, let's play the hit and run on baseball. I predict that Busy Dean will make a comeback, and the St. Louis Cardinals will win the 1938 National League pennant. The Giants just don't figure to repeat. They bunt their base hits, and a bunting team is not the kind that will win the bunting. Ha, ha, ha. The Yankees will win the American League pennant again and take a licking by the Cardinals in the World Series. Snelling will beat Lewis for the heavyweight championship, just as he did 2 years ago when they fought for glory in the gate receipt. He'll also knock Lewis rigid, frigid, and inert. In other words, quite out. Now that I've straightened you out on that, suppose I uphold the old tradition of the INS of being the first to the wire. I've just come from the Rose Bowl, and so I'm able to announce that the best football team of 1938 so far is California, which beat Alabama this afternoon in the first game on the first day of the year. And now here's Flip Madigan to take you on from that point. Flip, it's your business to know just why things should happen before they do. Which teams look like the best of the 1938 season before they start to play it?
Oddly, neither of today's principals, Alabama or California, is likely to rule as champion even in their own section. Here on the coast, I look for Southern California to come again to the top, with Washington a strong challenger. In the South, I lean toward Vanderbilt over Alabama. You see, California and Alabama lose too many key men between seasons for their own good. In the East, it ought to be Fordham and Pitt again. In the Big Ten, Minnesota should be dominant sectionally, and this time nationally. In the Southwest, watch Texas, although the championship Rice Institute team practically retains its starting lineup intact.
Thank you, Flip. Now then, Mr. Jimmy Thompson, suppose you tell us whether 1938 is going to be your year in golf at last. You've got the shots, the temperament, the will to win. Everything, in fact, except the National Open Championship Cup. So what?
So this, Davis, I figure that all I've got to do is keep firing power better at that field. And sooner or later, I'll win the Open. Why not this year? Frankly, I really believe it's my turn, and if I'm wrong again, I'll just have to keep on trying.
Well, how about the Amateur Championship?
The only thing anybody can logically say about the amateur is that the man who holds the title is always the man they've got to lick the next time out. Johnny Goodman is the champion. There are a dozen others equally sound, but you can't go behind Goodman's record any more than you can go behind the back of your neck. Barring Bobby Jones and Lawson Little, no amateur champion of the present generation has been able to repeat. However, I'd say Johnny has a real good chance.
And now, Ellsworth Fine, suppose you tell us whether, having won the Davis Cup for the first time in 10 years, we're going to keep it.
We're a cinch, Davis.
You mean that Don Budge...
I mean that Don Budge has everything a great player needs to carry on the record he made in 1937.
Thank you, Mr. Fine.
And thank you, Harrison Carroll and Davis Walsh. The program forecasting 1938 will continue immediately following station identification. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This is Bob Trout, ladies and gentlemen, speaking to you once again from New York and continuing our forecast of the year 1938. Our forecast of coming events turns to South America and to Columbia's commentator Alberto Zalamea, who is heard regularly over Columbia's shortwave station W2XE, commenting on American subjects for Latin America. Tonight, Mr. Zalamea steps into a new role and comments on Latin America for the United States. Here is Mr. Zalamea.
The question that looms largest in the countries of south of the Rio Grande is the same as in the United States. Namely, how long will the business recession continue, and how severe is it going to be? If it is going to become more severe, serious economic and political repercussions are sure to be felt. Already, the drop in prices of certain staple commodities in the United States is seriously affecting the economic setups of Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, and some of the Central American republics. And this, in turn, reflects back on business in the United States because it reduces the purchasing power of the Latin Americans and has already forced the governments of some countries, like the Republic of Colombia, to adopt rigid measures for the control of imports in order to conserve their supply of foreign exchange. And yet, the broader outlook for Latin America must be highly optimistic. Industrial development is going apace in most of the larger countries. In the ABC republics, Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, thousands of highly skilled technicians who have fled the political persecutions of the old world are ready to convert the abundance of raw materials available in those countries into manufactured goods, and new industries are springing all over the place. Apart from the economic aspects, Latin America is keeping up with the other continents artistically and in sports. Citizens of the United States saw eloquent examples of this during 1937. Miss Bidu Sayao, the Brazilian soprano, was one of the finds of the Metropolitan Opera system in her role of Manon. And Chile's international tennis star, Miss Anita Lizaña, put Latin America's name on the sports map by winning the United States National Women's Championship at Forest Hills. Latin America will continue to be an important factor in the world's history during 1938.
You have heard a prediction for South America from Alberto Zalamea. And now we consider the world of music through the words of Deems Taylor, noted composer and Columbia's musical consultant and commentator for the broadcasts of the Philharmonic Orchestra. Mr. Taylor predicts.
Our musical activities are about to go through a year during which they will mark time, going neither forward nor backward very far. The one field of music that will expand, I believe, is radio music. Serious programs have brought impressive returns to commercial broadcasters, which means more and better commercial programs. Radio will continue to be the greatest single medium for the advancement of the cause of music that this country has ever known.
In forecasting 1938 over a coast-to-coast network, there's no reason why we should overlook radio's horoscope. Mr. J.E., otherwise known as Dinty Doyle, radio editor of the New York Journal and American, will gaze into our crystal. Dinty, you're on the air.
The best forecast I can make to the American dialing public is that the programs for 1938 won't get much worse, and they won't be much better. This must be largely a negative forecast because the conservative American sponsor obviously would rather trust the artistic competencies of a Lily Pons or a Lawrence Tibbett than risk the possible development of a new Tetrazzini or another Marcel Journet. I certainly see no one to take Guy Lombardo's place, and I see no one destined to repeat the phenomenal success of Shep Fields, who became a household name in a year. Radio will continue to be personality mad, with most of the leading entertainers coming from other entertainment fields. I see no outstanding developments in technique due in the near future, and if I were you, I would not start shopping for a television set just yet. I look for no vocal sensation to follow the charm of Kate Smith and the amazing Bjorling and the astounding Massini. And in passing, I think it should be noted that Grace Moore this year rose to the ranking of the best lyric soprano we have with us. I believe the trend this year will be toward dramatic productions, and I think we shall see and hear better writing. It is greatly needed. The greatest opportunity for a young writer in the United States is in the field of radio humor, yet it is the most difficult field to enter. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see writers of the Standing Rattler Roger St. John or Clarence Buddington Kelland enter radio seriously. There will probably be more audience participation in programs, more inquiring microphones, more microphones in the street. And toward the end of 1938, it might be a smart gesture from a good friend, Mr. Ripley, to unveil the oddity of oddities, the man, believe it or not, who has never been on the air. In 1938, as in past years, whenever a comedian turns up with a new gag, you may count upon all the others to become sharecroppers. And if I were a bridge expert, I would make one more prophecy for radio based on the success of that noted no-Trump bidder, Edgar Bergen. And although it breaks all the rules of bridge, the lead will come from the dummy.
From Dinty Doyle's forecast of radio, we turn to drama, which comes to us through the keenly appraising voice of John Anderson, dramatic critic for the New York Journal and American. Ladies and gentlemen, here is one of the nation's top-flight dramatic reviewers, Mr. Anderson.
Trying to predict what the theater will do in 1938 is as rash as predicting the weather for next 4th of July. Nobody ever knows what the theater will do. We only know that while it is as wayward as the weather, we will go on having it. A reasonable forecast for the theater for the next 24 hours would be, I suppose, something like this. Fair but unsettled with frequent earthquakes and blizzards. That ought to cover it. But we who sit with it nightly through its most brilliant triumphs and its most desperate tommy-rot know only that in success or failure there is nothing like it. It may turn out to be Helen Hayes and Victoria Regina, Maurice Evans as Richard II, or Catherine Cornell in the full panoply of Shaw St. Joan. Or it may not. It may turn out to be only a flop so poisonous that its bite causes the sleeping sickness. On such sorry occasions, the actors wisely forget the play as they go along, and the wagons from the storehouse clamor for the scenery before the curtain is cast down. True worshippers of the drama are willing to take the chance. We know that within the theater's rim of make-believe lies one of the last unfettered powers of human expression. We know that the drama has changed the course of history, and we know that it may do so again when we find the dramatist who speaks for our times with the ring of truth in his voice. We know we can predict that much because the drama, also like the weather, holds the very breath of life.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the dramatic comment of critic John Anderson. And now we bring you one more expert who will sum up the forecasts we've heard during the past 40 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Columbia's news commentator and keen student of the world's affairs, Mr. H.V. Kaltenborn.
And the only thing that seems to be normal in 1938 is radio and fashions. Everything else is abnormal. We've had ominous notes of war, ominous notes of economic depression in Latin America, in the United States. And let us not forget that the notes of war follow the notes of economic depression. They are closely related. When Mr. Zalamea tells us that business depression is going to have political effects in Latin America, he thinks of the possibility of closer fascist developments in various countries there. He thinks of the importance of economic situations as affecting political developments. George Holmes in Washington tells us, too, that if business improves, yes, then things may be different. And happily for us, Mr. B.C. Fords tells us that he sees business improvement by mid-year. From abroad, we hear from Knickerbocker about the advance of Japan in China. And he, too, warns us that armed power today is the only answer to those who have unleashed the mad dogs of war. Armed power, yes, but let us not forget economic power. Let us not forget also the possibility of that new phrase which was introduced to us tonight, parallel action by Britain and the United States. Parallel action. That recalls that the possibility of collective security has not yet passed, and those individual nations that unleash the dogs of war may find that nations that believe in peace, nations that love democracy, nations that are determined to defend their interests, may be able to do that, not alone by armed force, but by uniting their economic power, which today is in the hands of the democratic nations, the nations that believe in peace. And so I still believe that there is a chance for peace and for democracy in 1938.
that was Mr. H.V. Kaltenborn's summation of our forecast for 1938. This is Bob Trout saying good night and wishing you all a Happy New Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Forecasting 1938. The orchestra was under the direction of Freddie Rich, and the program has been produced by Earl McGill in cooperation with the radio department of King Feature Syndicate. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Stay tuned for the Your Hit Parade Jukebox.
Your Hit Parade. The top tunes all over America as determined by Your Hit Parade survey, which checks the bestsellers in sheet music and phonograph records, the songs most heard on the air, and the songs most played on the automatic coin machines. An accurate, authentic tabulation of America's taste in popular music. Your Hit Parade.
I'm Henry Chap with a pocket full of nickels for the Hit Parade Jukebox. Let's count them down. Happy New Year! There is quite a bit of movement in the chart this week, with 2 songs making their debut in the top 5 and 1 song reappearing on the chart after a week off. Let's give a listen to the 3 songs that dropped off this week. One Rose by Bing Crosby, which was number 10 last week. Blossoms on Broadway by Dick Robertson, which was number 8 last week. And I Still Love to Kiss You Goodnight by Bing Crosby, which dropped off from all the way at number 5 last week.
You're as sweet as the red rose in June, dear. I love you, adore you, I do. Each night through Love Land we'd wander, sweetheart, telling love stories anew. Out of a blue sky, a dark cloud came rolling, breaking my heart in two. Don't leave me alone, I love only you. You're the one rose that's left in my heart. Dark cloud came rolling, breaking my heart in two. Don't leave me alone, I love only you. You're you're the one rose that's left in my heart.
Blossoms on Broadway when I'm walking with you. Blossoms where trees never grew. I forget the crowd and the loud rumble of cars, and all the bright lights turn into stars. There is magic on Broadway when you're smiling at me, magic my heart never knew. What a joy to be blissfully wandering through the blossoms on Broadway with you. I still love to kiss you goodnight. The thrill of you holding me tight grows ever sweeter the long years between. Since first I kissed you when you were 16, I still love the touch of your lips. I can't get too much of your lips. I know when your hair is snowy white, I'll still love to kiss you goodnight. I still love to kiss you goodnight. The thrill of you holding me tight grows ever sweeter the long years between. Since first I kissed you when we were 16, I still love the touch of your lips, and I can't get too much of your lips. I know when your hair is snowy white, I'll still love to kiss you goodnight.
Our number 10 song this week did not chart last week, but it was last on the chart December 18th. It is by a band leader with 2 songs on the chart this week. Here is the Pride of Mahoney Plain, Pennsylvania, Tommy Dorsey with If It's the Last Thing That I Do.
If it's the last thing I do, I'll make you mine. Darling, the first thing is you in my design. Just like the stars guard the moon above me, that's just how I'll guard our love. So love me, please love me. If it's the last thing I do, I'll take your hand. And though I won't say a word, you'll understand. I'll build a dream just for 2, and then I'll make it come true. If it's the very last thing I do. And then I'll make it come true. If it's the very last thing I do. If it's the very last thing I do.
Our number 9 song in the countdown drops from number 4. It is a former number 1 song from last November, November 13th to be exact. It was number 1 for 1 week. It is by a former Eagle Scout. Here's Ozzie Nelson singing with his orchestra, and You Can't Stop Me From Dreaming.
kissing you. You can stop me from cuddling too. You can treat me mean, honey, that's alright, but I'll get even with you tonight, 'cause you can't stop me from dreaming. You can stop me from holding hands. Make me listen to your command. You can say, no, no, honey, that's alright, I'll get even with you tonight. You can't stop me from dreaming. From 1 o'clock till 9, I'll dream you're mine. I'll steal a kiss, see what you're gonna miss. You can stop me romancing you. You're the boss now, but we're not through. You can turn me down, honey, that's alright, I'll get even with you tonight. You can't stop me from dreaming.
Our number 8 song this week drops from number 6. It was a former number 1 song on November 20th, 1937. It is by the host of the Royal Gelatin Hour every Thursday night. Here's Rudy Valley with Vieni, Vieni.
Vini, tu sei bella, 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 accanto a me. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 accanto a me. Alla mia rondinella, sei la più bella, e nel mio cuore, oh, parla, voglio cantare una canzone. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 accanto a me. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 accanto a me. Oh, la mia rondinella, sei la più bella, e nel mio cuore, oh, parla, voglio cantare una canzone d'amore. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 waiting for you. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 lonesome and blue. Palm trees are gently swaying, my heart is saying how much I love you. Love you, moonlight, it's softly gleaming, my heart is dreaming of you. Bella, 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 waiting for you. Vini, tu sei bella, 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 lonesome and blue. Palm trees are
Moving up 2 spots this week from number 9 to number 7 is by a band leader who played in France during the Great War as a member of Al Moore's orchestra. Perhaps some of you veterans saw him. Here's Mel Hallett telling us his true confession.
A true confession to make to you alone. It's all about the way I love you and adore you, my own. I've tried to seek expression for this desire I feel. You've made a very deep impression that my heart must reveal. Let me confess what I feel for you, the dreams that I dream. I'd even lie and I'd steal for you, or go to most any extreme. This is my true confession. I swear by stars above, and now you're in complete possession of my secret of love.
Moving up to number 6 from number 7 is a song by a crooner who is hot right now. He's stringing together several hits, including 2 on this week's countdown. He makes the ladies swoon as he sells them cheese every Thursday night on the Kraft Music Hall. Here's Bing trying to sell you a gold mine.
There's a gold mine in the sky far away. We will find it, you and I, some sweet day. There'll be clover just for you down the line, where the skies are always blue, pal of mine. Take your time, old mule, I know you're growing lame, but you'll pasture in the stars when we strike that claim. And we'll set up there and watch the world roll by. When we find that long-lost gold mine in the sky, far away, far we will find that long-lost gold mine some sweet day. And we'll say hello to friends who said goodbye. When we find that long-lost gold mine in the sky. And we'll say hello to friends who said goodbye. When we find that long-lost gold mine in the sky, far away, far away. The sky.
With it being New Year's Day, I thought it fitting to share with you the number one song from exactly 2 years ago today, January 1st, 1936. Edith Wright sings it, the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra plays it. Do you remember the music going round and round?
Play something for me.
Oh, I don't know how to play nothing.
Well, I'll show you now. Oh, you blow through here, the music goes down and around. Whoa, ho, 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 when it comes out here. Now push the first valve down, the music goes down and around. Whoa, ho, 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 when it comes out here. Now push the middle valve down, hear that music go down and around. Below, below, dee-dee-ho-ho-ho, listen to the jazz come out. Push that other valve down, hear the music go down and around. Whoa-ho-ho, ho-ho-ho, when it comes out here. Hey, Tommy, what's he got there?
Why, that's a clarinet, Edith.
What's he doing with it?
He's trying to show you how the music goes around and around.
Oh, he can't show me how the music goes around and around on a straight instrument.
Ouch. Kick it, Sid, kick it.
Boy, he can kick it for my money.
And now, Grandma. How about a touch of that sauce, Tom?
Sliding it, not kicking it.
And now we're going to put on a customer's chorus, and we want you all to join in lightly on this last refrain.
Oh, I blow through here, the music goes round and around. Whoa, ho, 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 and it comes up here. Now you push the first valve down, the music goes down and around. Whoa, ho, 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 and it comes up here. That middle valve down, hear the music go down and around. Below, 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 whoa, listen to the jazz come out. Push that other valve down, oh, the music goes round and around. Whoa, and it comes up here. My,
The first of our big chart debuts this week is at number 5. It's by a woman who did not speak until she was 4 years old. Here's the songbird of the South, Kate Smith, debuting with You're a Sweetheart.
If there ever was one, if there ever was one, it's you. Life without you was an incomplete dream. You are every sweet dream come true. My search was such a blind one, and I was all at sea. I never thought I'd find one quite so perfect for me. You're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. Oh, you're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you. Life without you was an incomplete dream. You are every sweet dream come true. Ah, my search was such a blind one, and I was all at sea. Hey, I never thought I'd find one quite so perfect for me. Oh, you're a sweetheart, if there ever was one. If there ever was one, it's you.
Here is our highest debuting song this week. Coming in all the way at number 4, here's Bing Crosby with Bob White.
I was talking to the whippoorwill. He says you got a corny trill. Bob White.
I'm gonna swing tonight.
I was talking to the mockingbird. He says you are the worst he's heard. Bob White.
I'm gonna swing tonight.
Even the owl tells me you're foul, singing those lullaby notes.
Well, he's a bring down, he never could swing down. He ain't got my high notes.
There's a lot of talk about you, Bob.
Yeah?
They're saying you're off the car.
Why, that's heresy. I'll sue.
Fake it, Mr. B.
Here I go.
Take it, follow me, Bob White.
We're gonna break it up
tonight.
the wire from the whippoorwill.
You mean my old
He
friend
says that
Bill?
you have got a mellow trill.
Oh, yes, I have.
Bob White,
We're in the groove tonight.
now here's another from the mockingbird.
What does he have to say?
That you're the best he's heard.
Oh, that's too absurd.
Bob White,
We really saw the light.
even the owl threw in a towel after you sing staccato.
And the flamingo hollered but jingle. What a vibrato.
Now the consensus of opinion
Oh,
is
what is the consensus is?
that you're a solid whiz.
Oh, yes, I is.
Sing on, Mr. B.
I'm gonna swing on merrily.
Bob White.
We really broke it up tonight, Bob.
At number 3 this week is a song that was number 3 last week. It is written by George and Ira Gershwin for the film Damsel in Distress. Sing along with Fred Astaire with It's Nice Work If You Can Get It.
The man who only cares for making money lives a life that isn't necessarily sunny. Likewise, the man who works for fame, there's no guarantee that time won't erase his name. The fact is, the only work that really brings enjoyment is the kind that is for girl and boy. Men, fall in love, you won't regret it. That's the best work of all if you can get it. Holding hands at midnight, 'neath a starry sky. Nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. Strolling with the one girl, sighing sigh after sigh. Nice work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. Just imagine someone waiting at the cottage door, where two hearts become one. Who could ask for anything more? Loving one who loves you, and then taking that vow. Nice work if you can get it, and if you get it, oh, won't you tell me how?
Let's swing and sway with Sammy Kaye as he tells us about Rosalie holding firm at number 2.
Rosalie, my Rosalie. night when stars danced above. I'm oh, so much in love. So Rosalie, have mercy. Rosalie, don't decline. Won't you make my life thrilling and tell me you're willing to be mine, Rosalie, mine.
And our number one song for the sixth week in a row is Once in a While by the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra.
Once in a while, will you try to give one little thought to me, so someone else may be nearer your heart? Ooh. Once in a while, will you dream of the moments I shared with you, moments before we two drifted apart? Ooh. In love's smoldering ember, one spark may remain. If love still can remember, the spark may burn again. I know that I'll be contented with yesterday's memory, knowing you think of me once in a while.
There you have it, the top 10 songs of the week of January 1st, 1938. I'm Henry Chop. So long for a while.
So long for a while.
That's all the songs for a while. So long to your hit parade and the tunes that you pick to be played. So long.
And that's the way it was on January 1st, 1938. I'm Henry Chop, your host. Be sure to stay tuned after this video for a movie double feature. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on that bell icon to get notifications. In a little bit, I will tell you what we have coming up tomorrow. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. First off, let me give you a reminder once again to stay tuned for our movie double feature. God willing, I hope YouTube accepts it so you can watch it. And tomorrow night, we are going to spotlight January 2nd, 1938. And that was a Sunday, which means there was a ton of vintage radio broadcasts recorded. So you're going to have a lot of stuff to listen to. Let's see, we have The World Is Yours, Dr. Christian, another review program, 1937 in review, the Mickey Mouse Theater, and they're spotlighting Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the Jack Benny program, the Chase and Sanborn program with Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, the Magic Key of RCA, 30 Minutes in Hollywood, which was a George Jessel program. So a lot of stuff tomorrow night. So make sure you come back for January 2nd, 1938. Until then, let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this change.